Okay, so I'm gonna put together the next passport cover for one of my sons. Just taking a look, see which way I want that to look. Kind of like that as the front. So we'll go like that. Now we'll go like that. Now we'll go like that. Okay. So I'm just gonna use my bump stick to line these up. And let's see here. I don't have my just going to use my dividers to mark the edge on that, since I don't have my scribe with me. And let's see, just going to line it up to about like that and kind of rough up these edges a little bit before we apply the glue. I'm going a little bit wider because I always leave room to trim down the finished size. I like to use a ruler because it keeps the rougher straight. Doesn't have to be exactly perfect, but I do like to keep that part clean, and I always like to orient my work just to keep things organized. Okay, so if I remember right, that is like that. Yep, it's like that, and then that, and then that. The backs of these are already kind of rough, so I don't bother roughing that up. And now we'll apply some glue. I do like these little glue bots that make glue application very easy. Just spread a little bit. I don't do a whole lot. Just enough to make sure we have good even coverage. You can put too much glue on a joint, and you can also starve a joint of glue. So you want to get good even coverage. I use these little application spreaders. We're just going to even that out. Like I said, I measure out enough material to allow some excess so I can trim it down to size, so I have those nice perfect edges that we all strive for. And once we get this spread out, we'll let the glue dry a little bit. You want it to get a little sticky before putting the pieces together. You do this long enough and you get a feel for how much glue is the right amount. Takes a little trial and error. I like to have a nice even coat, not too thick, but also at the same time not so thinned out that you can't tell if there's glue on it. That to me is usually about the correct amount. I might need to put a little bit more on this side. We'll see. So I work out of a garage at my place. I don't have a professional studio. It's a nice little workspace. I have plenty of room. I just moved into this one, so I don't have everything mounted on the walls yet the way I like it. That will be soon. Actually, I'm going to try to do a little bit of that work this week after I get off from my day job. Okay, let's see. It's just like that. The good thing about these little spreaders is you let the glue dry and then you can just rub off the glue and you can reuse these over and over and over. I've probably been using this one for probably at least 6 months. When the glue is drying, you'll notice it'll become a little clearer and it'll be a little sticky to the touch. It probably is okay to go ahead and attach it, but I'm going to let this dry a little bit longer. You could use a heat gun to speed up the process. That is perfectly acceptable. Now I think we're getting very close. And again, I like to use my bump stick. I believe this is a piece of wangi with some, what I liked about it is it had this strip of sapwood on the edge. That way I didn't have to put two different color woods together to make my own. It was kind of built in, so I just kind of bump that up against the stick, and then I come in here and just try to line that up as good as possible, and this gets you pretty close. That way you don't have to play too much with trying to line things up. And then we'll do the same thing on this side as well. Just kind of push it there close to the edge. Make sure these ends are cleaned up. You could get a bump stick that has a 90-degree cut in it. I just, for leather work, I just used what I had from my woodworking days. If you had a roller, you would roll it, or a hammer. I've got one of these old iron weights. You could just use that to make for good contact. to help that glue set. The main thing is you don't want to mar up your leather work, but this is for my son and it's already rustic leather, so I'm not going to worry about that too much. Okay, now I'd say that looks pretty good. What we're going to do now is I'm going to round the corners and then mark my stitching line. You can get these off Amazon. They're little quarter round punches. And because I'm just relocated in this space, I don't know where my rubber mallet is still packed up, so don't ever use a metal hammer on a metal punch because eventually it will round over the edge, but it doesn't take much, and that's how it rounds that over. I just like to eyeball it, make sure we get in there close, and there we go. An interesting story about this hammer is this was my great-grandfather's hammer. He was a carpenter in Oklahoma during the Great Depression. When my grandfather passed away, his son, I inherited a lot of his tools because I was the only woodworker in the family. So everything that my grandfather had, since he wasn't a woodworker, was rusted. All the wood handles were destroyed. I went through and rehandled everything, refinished everything. I still have some of his hand tools that I still have to refurbish. I may show some videos of that process in the future. But yeah, that means a lot to me, knowing that my great-grandfather used this hammer and then I'm putting it to use. I've used this hammer to build a bunch of furniture, and well, like I said, you're not supposed to use it for leather work, but in a pinch, that is what we're doing right now. I'm going to take my dividers. I like to use 4mm. I like to hit the straight edges first. I am not great with using the dividers on round corners yet, so I try to be careful. So I typically knock out the straight edges first for my stitching lines. Okay. Like I said, I am not great about doing the rounded corners. That one turned out pretty good. Maybe if I turn the piece, it works better. I guess we're learning together here. Okay. Let's see. Yep, I'm happy with that. All right, so I'll punch out the stitching holes and then stitch it, but it's going to have the red stitching on the rustic black leather. That is what my son picked out, and I think that is a nice contrast. I'm actually very happy with that. I think he did a good job. So I'll stitch it together, and then I will work on the edges and clean those up very well. All right, that's it for this video.